Hello and welcome to episode 22 of Carvers and Creators, a weekly demonstration and discussion with pumpkin carvers, sculptors, and multi-talented artists. We humbly ask that you please consider giving us a like and a follow on the platform you're watching us on. My name is Michael Mondragon, and I'll be running the show, moderating comments, and chiming in from time to time. Let's meet the Carvers. First, he is an artist and sculptor from Boston, Massachusetts. He is the 2019 champion of Food Network's Outrageous Pumpkins. Paul Dever, welcome.
There's Paul.
Hey, everybody.
Good to see you, brother.
Good to be here. Good to be seen.
Next, he is a multimedia sculpture artist from Tucson, Arizona, and a finalist on Halloween Wars 2019 on the Food Network, Matt Harper.
Hello, everyone.
Our guest creator is an illustrator and art educator. His artwork has appeared on the magazine covers for Time, Mad, New York Times, U.S. News and World Report, to only name a few. He also teaches drawing and oil painting online at schoolism.com. From Sioux Falls, South Dakota, Thomas Fluharty. Welcome.
Thank you. Welcome. Good to be here, man.
Thanks.
Welcome, Tom. Good to see you.
Awesome. You guys are awesome pumpkin carvers, man. That's incredible. Seriously.
You're just an awesome artist. It's like unbelievable. It's
Thank you.
mind-boggling.
Thank you so much.
Well,
Yeah,
thanks
we
for
are
joining us.
we are super stoked you're here and hanging out with us today. And I think you'll find that this is a fun hour and a half. It goes by really fast. I think we can all attest to having been on other ones that just kind of fly by, and this will be no different because I personally have a million questions for you. I know Paul does, and Mickey. We got a lot of your art to take a look at today. So this is going to be a ton of fun. So thank you.
Hey, there he is.
You guys okay?
Yeah,
Yeah.
we're good.
Should I reboot? Should I
No.
reboot?
No, you're good.
No, you're good. Good shape.
All right, cool.
You're all good. So before we start, we like to go around and have a toast to our art creations that we're going to be making today. So Paul, what are we going to be making today?
Well, in lieu of the wheel, we have decided that we would try to emulate Mr. Fluharty's style and do caricatures. Okay, that's sort of in our realm, but not really, because we don't know what the hell we're doing half the time anyway. So that's what we're going to do tonight. We're going to try and somehow emulate Tom's style, because it's a pretty amazing style.
That's so cool. Thank you. I can't wait to see what you do, man.
I can't wait to hopefully not screw it up, Tom.
Right. That's awesome.
So Paul, what do you have to drink tonight? To toast?
Okay, well, I'm going to lie and tell you that this is full of vodka, but I have a bit of a chest cold, so I'm just going to go straight vodka, not water.
Not water, quote unquote. Yeah.
Perfect. Matt, what do you got?
I live in Tucson, so I just decided I went with a
Sorry,
local
guys.
beer.
This is still blinking out here.
Oh, is it? All right. We'll keep plugging as much as we can, Tom.
There we
This
go.
is a nice local beer here, and I'll drink for the both of us, Paul.
Thank you so much. Well, I am drinking vodka. I mean, seriously.
Oh, that's true.
Thomas, do you have anything?
Yeah, this is my Flyboy donut glass, and I drink sodas throughout the day. You know, I don't know. I'm trying not to drink as many, but I drink like 2 or 3, maybe 4 a day. But that's what this is. So
That's a good advice.
Flyboy donuts, my favorite
Nice.
donut place.
Look at that. A nice plug for Flyboy.
There you go.
Well, I like to drink alone, so I'll have a Swami's IPA from Pizza Port Brewing, just south of here. I'm in LA, so that's so good stuff here. If you like IPAs, this is the one to have. Look for Pizza Port. So cheers.
Cheers, gentlemen.
Yeah,
Here we go.
you got an extra visitor right there.
Here's to the pooch.
Hey, puppy.
This is Biddy.
Oh,
Look at this little doggy.
my dog would be going nuts if I held it like that.
She wanted to come up on my lap because she was just going to sit there and stare at me making noises. So she is now on the show. Have you ever had a dog on the show before?
I think this is a first, and I'm liking it.
Nice.
I'm liking it.
She has a writer that comes with every show she's on.
I didn't get that in time, so it can't be fulfilled.
No brown M&Ms.
No, exactly.
Was she featured in your the line of dogs that you did? I'm pretty sure she was, right?
Yeah, I think she is. Yeah, totally.
so.
I think she is. So
I definitely hope I have it in my slides, so that'd be fun to show. Yep. So let's go through some of Thomas's work, just to get you up to, if you're not familiar with him, and I don't know how you're not, but I mean, his work has been so many places you probably didn't even know that you saw. Oh, and then there's the dog right there, right in the shot.
Oh, yeah. There's Biddy. That's right.
That worked out.
Yeah.
But awesome. Yeah, your work is now, is your work this size, or do you do it smaller, and is it reproduced? Small?
It's not that size yet. So I usually work 12 by 19, or 12 by 16, or 8.5 by 11, or 13 by 19. And that's just the size of the paper. So I have to sort of, stay within those confines. But I bought a bigger paper, a big roll. What that is I was done smaller, but I wanted to take it up bigger and pose with it. And I photoshopped it in just so that these galleries in Santa Fe can look at it and make the connection. Oh, this is a big piece of artwork to sell. So, you have to sort of help people to believe, basically.
Yes.
Photoshop does that very well.
Yeah.
They can make you believe anything.
Yeah. So that was a frame that I turned blue. Actually, I have a really cool frame that I sprayed blue. Like my whole wall back here is blue, my bookshelves and stuff. So, but yeah, it's just that one I took up in a big size. I'm going to actually paint it really large as well. So.
Oh, wow.
Gotcha.
So would you use that same? I mean, you would just paint on it, or on. I mean, I'm trying to picture. So, or would you redo it as a painting?
Yeah. So my drawings are where I solve all my problems, and I don't like solving problems in the paint phase. So if I'm painting solving problems, it's not a happy day. It's a stressed out situation. So I solve all my problems in the drawing, and then what I do is project that up on a canvas and then paint it. So so then I project it up on my canvas. The actual drawing itself from a JPEG, I put it in my Epson sort of projector, and then project that up on a canvas, trace it, and it's exact, and then I paint. So, and then what I'm going to do is go out to Deadwood, South Dakota, where I'm friends with these dudes who are cowboys, and they're reenactment actors. And so they're going to pose for that and take it, and it'll change it from me working from a photo I found online. It will be very similar, but it'll be lit according to how I want it to be lit.
Oh, beautiful.
You know what I mean? So I'm not just relying on a photo that's a little grainy. I try to paint realistically,
Yeah, wow.
I noticed that in a lot of you'll show reference photos of you holding something or someone else like in that pose, and then you turn it to what you want it to be for the reference.
Yeah,
so
and these dudes up in Deadwood, my sister-in-law lives in Deadwood, so I went up to Deadwood with the hopes of stumbling upon these reenactment actors. And I went into the town. Deadwood is, very famous. Wild Bill Hickok, Calamity Jane. It's a pretty famous place. And it's very legit. It's Wild West is really what it is. It's pretty crazy. Yeah. I only live like 6 hours away. So it sort of does legitimize me as a cowboy artist now. They're like, hey, he's from South Dakota. Cool. It's kind of silly, but it's cool. Anyways, I saw these dudes. When I went there, I didn't see them. And I was like, crap, man. So I was driving my car, and I look over, and they pop out of this building. And I was like, oh, my gosh, these guys are so awesome. And they literally had these clothes on. And I was like, oh, my gosh. So I ran up to them and said, guys, would you be open to posing at some point? If I paid you to pose, I need some shots. I'm a professional illustrator, artist, and I'm going to do some paintings. And they were super cool. So I paid them like, an hourly wage that I came up with that was fair, and it was so cool. So now, after I came back and took all these photos and just composed them, just started drawing them for like a month, and it was just so cool. They're so awesome. You know what I mean? They're actors as well, so they know and they get it. So it was incredible. So then, now what I'm going to do is go back somewhere after New Year's and pose them in a saloon fight scene where they're punching and hitting each other with chairs and punching each other and shooting guns and this. So it's going to be this like 6-foot painting of this crazy, whacked out, wonky saloon fight.
Saloon fight. Oh my God.
So that's all I want to do. I'm like so pumped to do it, you know. So they're gonna pose for it, which is insane. So I'm super excited. So
I can just. Of course, the dogs start barking. Here we go.
The dogs are excited too.
yeah, I hear that. Yeah. That's awesome. I'll take that as encouragement.
Yeah.
As an amen.
That's great, man.
Yeah, of course, the minute I want to ask a question, but I was going to say I can actually picture the poker chips flying, the bottles flying, of XXX whiskey flying in the air.
Yeah, it's a spoof is what it is. Like, I'm not going to, like, the one thing I refuse to do is paint a cowboy on a horse looking over a valley with a tear in his eye. Like, I just refuse that. That's been done. Yeah. What I want to do is just have fun and just do my take on it, and just incorporate like craziness of wonky, just almost cartoony. Like, imagine Jack Davis painting in oils, you know what I mean? Mort Drucker. I mean, these guys are all over whatever we do, like I didn't invent it, but I'm now drawing like I want to draw, and it's really cool to now take it up and paint it in oils legitimately.
So we'll touch on this later, but it's funny that I'm showing this Han Solo with what I'm going to say there. I think it was Mort Drucker. I think it was 1983, and I still have it. It was when Return of the Jedi came out, and there was a Mad magazine done by him, and it was Darth Vader taking off his helmet, and it was Alfred E. Newman underneath of it. So I still have that one. I'm almost positive it was Mort Drucker, but I see all of that in your style. And we'll talk about it later, but you actually got to do a Mad magazine, which we'll touch on. But I mean, this is very reminiscent of that 83 cover. I remember because, Han Solo's on it, and all the Princess Leia. So it's like, were you influenced by obviously Mort Drucker, Star Wars, pop culture?
Yeah. So everyone is inspired by Drucker and Davis. Especially anybody really doing caricature. I mean, Drucker was this is a true statement. So Drucker was the better caricaturist, and he was great at caricature. Davis was great at cartooning and creating these crazy characters and just unreal. They're both at the same level. But Davis did not do great caricature. He more like kind of copied a face, but Drucker like infused the character with life. And so when you talk about caricature, man, Drucker is it. But both of those guys infused my and informed my drawings, and that's just undeniable. Like, I draw feet, and people be like, "Oh, dude, that's Jack Davis." Somebody just said the other day, "Hey, is this Jack Davis?" And I'm like, "No, we're all standing on Jack Davis's back." So you can't deny that. That's fine. That's nothing to be ashamed of. Just like I'm taking from everybody. I'm taking from maybe 5 or 6 really big things that grabbed me at some point in my journey. Like Bob Peak at one point did some hands that knocked me out in 1983. I was 21 or 2 or whatever. And I was like, oh my gosh, these hands that Bob Peak did, that's incredible. It was every which way but loose. And it was a hand that looked like this. And it was these knuckles that he did. We're like, oh my gosh. And so every day I draw hands, I think about Bob Peak. But really my biggest steal is from Michael Ramirez, who's the greatest editorial cartoonist in the world today, I believe. And he's a two-time Pulitzer winner. He's genius. He's literally genius. So I steal from him on how to draw crazy and wonky. So if you ever watch the way he draws a gun or draws an airplane or a bomb or, you know, whatever he draws, I'm majorly inspired by Michael Ramirez. And then when you paint it in oils, all of a sudden it doesn't look like Michael anymore. But he's a major influence, and we became friends. So I'm really honored that to have him as my friend, and we've been to his house a few times. And so it's just incredible that these guys are generous enough to actually, when I reached out to them, they actually returned my phone call, you know.
Wow.
That's the ultimate.
Yeah, and I wrote Drucker. I wrote him a letter after I did the cover for Mad in 1995. I wrote him a letter and just thanked him, and he wrote me back, and it was incredible. You know, like a guy of that stature paying attention. And it was just so cool. And so I try to do that as well. I just try to encourage people, no matter what happens in my life with my career. I just try to encourage people and take a look and try to really be a real human being, you know, because I know how important it was when Drucker wrote me back. You know, it was just like incredible. So it's cool.
And speaking of career, when did you become a effective full-time artist, or were you always?
Yeah. Well, I didn't become a full-time artist until I was 21. I graduated. I went to 2 years into an art school, and then after that, I got a job in New York City. And and I stayed there for 13 years in New York City doing storyboards, which I hated. That taught me how to draw, but I also trained with Kenny Bald, who drew Dr. Kildare and Dark Shadows. He's best friends with Stan Lee.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Ken Bald, B-A-L-D. He's the real deal. So I really learned how to draw after him by studying with him. Hold on one second. I'm so sorry. My dog has to get out of here.
Yeah, no problem.
So sorry. Hold on one second. Hold on. Guys, I hate to do this. Hold on.
It's the real world.
That's it. That's amazing how many artists he's worked with.
Yeah.
Yeah, Mickey and I can't tell you how many times we'd sit on the corner in my bed, in my room, laughing out loud at Mad magazines. I mean, that was kind of like the start for me. Like,
dude, the 3-part fold in the back was like the ultimate.
So sorry. Here we go.
Exactly.
So sorry about that. You're gonna have to cut that out.
No worries.
My dog was gonna pee, and my wife just got home, so my apologies.
No
Oh,
worries.
yeah, no problem.
But anyways, right at about 21, years old, after I graduated, there's these people that played important key pieces in my life to just say something to me and lead me on to the next step and then the next thing. So it's a crazy story. But I mean, I'm shooting all over the place, but basically I got that job in New York City training under Kenny Bald. And I did storyboards at Gem Studio for 13 years. And that taught me how to draw. And then I'm still learning how to draw, but that really set me up to draw 24 hours a day, everything out of your head from the ground up. And, you know, it was crazy just drawing storyboards for commercials.
Wow.
After that, I really wanted to get into editorial work, and it took a while. I would be ignored a lot. And so it eventually happened, but you have to just keep trying to get attention, you know, trying to develop actually, so you can get attention. You know what I mean?
Yeah, totally. And like, do you, obviously you're in high demand, you know, to do like a lot of the editorial work, which I'm going to be showing you. But was that always the case, or did it come out of some, like a one thing that you did, or was just your body of work?
it was a long journey, actually. Once Mad happened, so Mad rejected me. Mad rejected me 2 years prior. And so my friend Kevin Sacco, who's an amazing artist, great draftsman, we worked together at Gem Studio, and he said, Tommy, you should take your work over to Mad Magazine. And I did. So they rejected me and said, hey, but they were cool. They were like, hey, we like your stuff a lot. This is cool. But it's not a la Mad. Do more samples a la Mad, and we'll take a look. So I just started practicing caricatures and started painting. I started developing and drawing outside of magic markers, which we were using. And so right at that point, it took 2 years to build a portfolio in between all my storyboard work that I was doing. I had a full-time job doing storyboards. Right. And so anyways, I just worked all the time, super aggressive. If I worked till 12 o'clock at night on these jobs for Gem Studio, I would then say, hey, I got a cab ride home. I'm going to work till 2. So I'd work from 12 to 2 on my stuff, get a cab. But basically how it happened was when I finally went back to Matt after being rejected or just saying, keep working on your stuff and come back, I finally did go back 2 years later and I took them my work. I don't know if you know this story, so stop me if you've heard it. But basically, have you guys heard this story?
No.
Okay. So I took them my work. I put together a portfolio of caricature. I started practicing caricature. And then I took them my work. I called them up. And this was back in the day when you dropped your book off your portfolio. And I called them up and said, hey, this is Tom Fluharty. I dropped my book off. Did you guys get a chance to look at it? And they said, yeah, come and pick it up. And I was like, I told Sacco, I said, see, Sac, it's a complete rejection. And so I ran over there and knocked on, went through the door. And the lady goes, they're looking at your portfolio right now. Just have a seat. So I sat right next to this big statue of Alfred E. Newman in the corner that they had. And I'm just sitting there waiting. And all of a sudden, the door opens up and Nick Meglin has my portfolio under his arm. And he goes, you Thomas Fluharty? I go, yeah. And he goes, don't ever bring this shit around here again. Come on in.
Wow.
And they bring me in this door. The door opens up and I'm walking down the hallways in Mad Magazine. I was like, oh my gosh, this is insane. And they sit me down and they say, hey, we really love your work. Would you be able to do this cover? And I was like, sure.
Wow.
And,
oh my God.
I couldn't believe it. That's the cover. Yeah. And I was like, oh my gosh. And Joe Orlando was he's in the Comic Hall of Fame or whatever. He was just like, yeah, I really love your work, man. I think it would be great. And so I was like, that's crazy cool. So I ran all the way back from Madison Avenue all the way back to Grand Central, literally on cloud 9. Like, I just got the cover.
Just skipping. Yeah.
And then I go back to work. And as soon as I walk in Gem Studio, they're like, Tommy, okay. Yeah, okay. Come on. We got to explain this job. And I had to sit through this hot dog explanation for this commercial. I was like, oh my gosh, I just got the cover of Mad Magazine. Now I'm doing a hot dog commercial. This sucks. I just want to do this on my own. I just want this to happen, blah, blah, blah. Anyways, I took a week off and did the cover, and then things happened after that. But I was basically, I had to fulfill my contract. I couldn't work for a year because I was on a non-compete. I couldn't work until I finally went freelance. So right at the end of 95, I finished out 95, and then I moved to Minneapolis and went freelance. And right after that, things happened. Matt started giving me work inside. I started doing the last page for them for about a year. And then the New York Times called. And when the New York Times called, that kind of broke everything open. And it was crazy from there on out. But it really took me from 96 to 2003. It took me basically about 12 years to figure it out. But from 96 to 2003, that was a period of cutting my teeth every day on caricature and figuring it out. Who am I? And it all happened. It all culminated because right at about 2003, I got the cover of Der Spiegel, and I did it, and it was too wacky and crazy, and they pulled the cover from me, and they gave it to somebody in-house. And the art director was like, Tom, can I just tell you something? Your work is so freaky. You scared everybody here. And they said, if you could tone your work down, you'll get more work. Don't be so out there. Don't make George Bush look so crazy. He goes, we have a conservative reader base. And he goes, if you could make your work more sophisticated, you'll get more work. I then did George Bush as a cowboy like I wanted to. With he's got like a hat and chaps, and he's got a red shirt on. And as soon as I did that, that really changed everything. Yeah, right there.
There it was.
That changed everything for me. I did it on my own, how I wanted to do it. It's still not like I'm drawing now, but it's there. It was the beginning of my my beginning, pretty much. But it was all because of that low rejection from Der Spiegel.
Oh.
But this was the change of how everything changed from there. But I think I was on to something right at that point, and it was a cool thing. And so yeah, that was sort of how the editorial stuff happened for me. And then I was working with Time Magazine. They would give me there was something called the In the Spotlight. Each week they would hand it out to an illustrator, and I did a number of those. That was always a real big rush. Like, oh my gosh, I got the In the Spotlight this week. And so every week you'd go to see who did the spotlight, and you know, you felt like you would arrive because you did the spotlight. But anyways, all that to say, it was just a cool thing. And then I sort of moved out of that because caricature was dying, editorial was dying, and I just stopped being an illustrator in my mind and started getting classically trained at about that point. Around 2003, I started getting classically trained and started studying with great painters on how to paint and how to think. And also read Purple Cow by Seth Godin, which rocked my world. Mm-hmm. And that helped me to think and create on a different level of thinking. So it's been a long journey and filled with rejection and doubt and you know, making progress through things. It's always a journey, but always having great people around me have helped me as well. You know.
Oh, that's amazing.
Sorry, that was a long-winded answer. So
no, that's. I can't believe that you went back so late in the road to actually learn how to paint.
Yeah,
that's and where you took it it's amazing.
Well, it's a journey. Thank you, by the way. It's a journey. I haven't arrived by any means. It's a long journey of figuring it out. And probably the last about 2 years ago, 2.5 years ago, maybe 3, I started studying with Joe Paquette, who's a great painter. He's a landscape painter, but he really taught me a ton of stuff on how to really paint and think and create. And so, you know, I've been doing this for 20 years before 2003. I've been doing it 20 years, but I didn't know. I was just an illustrator. I was shallow. I was just like, oh, this is what you do as an illustrator. You do this and that. And I'd studied and I'd done this and that in terms of you know, being able to create something. But when I really started studying and getting classically trained, then I realized I didn't know squat. I didn't know much at all. And these guys really rocked my world. They started talking and saying things to me. It was like Chinese. They were talking Chinese for like 2 or 3 years. And I was like, I don't even know what you're talking about. And so it helped to sit there and hang in there and work it out. They had to work out the principles I'm learning because I'm a slow learner. So when somebody talked about, you know, form and value and sculpting with my pencil and rounding form and all these things, I was like, I don't understand. You know, yeah, there's just all these phrases that these classically educated musicians talk. They talk a certain way, and painters, they when you start getting around it, you start. It's a little foggy, but then it clears and you can see eventually.
And it's the language that the language. Yeah. Did you go? Did you have to move, or to get classically trained? Did you? I'm picturing like, you know, a university setting, but it also, you know, obviously could be kind of on your terms. But what did you? What kind of journey was that, actually getting that training?
Yeah, well, they were right in Minneapolis. Is the amazing thing. I lived in Minneapolis. I lived in Prior Lake, which was 40 minutes from their studio. Okay. So these are world-class painters teaching. And I'm like, oh my gosh, I get to go down there. So I just enrolled in their classes. And at the time, storyboards kept knocking me out of the class because I'd be like, I get this phone call. Hey, Tom, I got like 50 frames due like tomorrow. Can you do it? And I'd be like, oh man, 50 frames. And I do calculate how much money that was. And I'd be like, yeah, I'll do it. And then I like give my whole life away and make, you know, a lot of money in a few days. And it was just a drag. Like I'd be fried out. But eventually, as I stopped doing storyboards and started really shifting more to educating and education and going online, then I stopped doing storyboards because I just, it was killing me. But anyways, I started training with these guys, and only driving in 40 minutes was key. And so then I took Joe's class every Wednesday night and went down to learn how to paint. And it wasn't that I wanted to learn how to paint landscapes. I wanted to learn how to paint. And the genre is a moot point.
Right. It's learning how to paint in general.
That was everything. So it was key. I still want to study with them. I haven't figured it all out by any means. And I've drawn way more than I've painted. So I don't really consider myself a painter. I am painting and figuring it out and enjoying it. And I love painting. But right now, I just love drawing and creating every single day. And I don't worry about the fact that my paintings may not be as remarkable as my drawings. And what I mean by that is making people say something about it. A remarkable painting is, wow, they're going to make a remark about this. People will write me and say, dude, I love your drawings. I love your drawings, but especially your blue line. So it's like, I know I'm doing things in that I'm like onto something. Yeah. I have to invest the same amount of time in painting, and I'm not worried about it. I got my whole life. If I live another 30 years, you know, I'll keep doing that. That's incredible. So it's just understanding of, man, this is a school. The world is a school. I want to get good at this. I want to understand what I'm doing. And so I'm on a journey just like you guys, you know, like you don't arrive. This is it's a universe. This is gigantic, massive ideas. And we're all being, you know, schooled. So it's cool. So even teaching online as schoolism is me just rehashing and trying to figure out how to communicate this and break it all down where I can give people at various levels food to eat that they can get it if they're 10 or they can get it if they're 30. You know what I mean? Like to be able to work through these principles and these concepts is super cool. But that I've been teaching now for 10 years. I'm just now understanding things in a certain way that I'm really understanding how to say it in a simplified way. Does that make sense?
Oh, yeah.
Yes, that's how you know it's working, because I understood it.
That's so cool. That's so cool. This was funny. This real quick. They had me take his breast out of there. I put his nipple in there, and they were like, Tom, you got to get rid of that. So anyway.
So this is a perfect segue to what I was going to ask. Like, you got feedback from your art. That first one, they said you need to tone it down. Your storyboarding, you know, whereas it helped you kind of get to where you're at. It really, your heart wasn't in that. I'm sure it was a job. But I'm sure it helped you progress.
It was what did it.
Yes, exactly. And we all have to go through that. I've had to do so many jobs. In fact, I was going to mention, I remember hearing somebody one time said to get where he was at, he had to do kitty litter commercials. Wow. And that didn't make sense to me. Right. But he had to do kitty litter commercials in order to finance the great stuff that he wanted to do. Yeah. So he did that for 6 months, and then he'd take the other 6 months and do all these amazing things. But he said, I have to do kitty litter commercials. It's heartless, soulless work.
Yeah, right.
And so my question to you is, how important is feedback? You were saying from people that see your work being remarkable and all this other stuff, or people within the business. How valuable is that? Or is it valuable at all to kind of get you to where you're at? Because sometimes you have to have the people to say, you can't do that to really get you to do what you need to do.
Yeah. So feedback is crucial. But if you have to keep your world small to get the right feedback. Don't do a drawing and put it out there and say, hey, friends, what do you think? What should I do? Should I make the shirt blue or red? You're going to get people clobber you. You're going to get people you're going to get 100 different people. You need 2 or 3 people that you really respect, that you get their work and they get yours, and they're probably better than you or whatever, but they're gonna guide you. They're gonna be the bumpers on the bowling lane. They're gonna help you to see. Yeah. And they're gonna tell you it's a half-baked idea. It's not that great, Tom. Don't go down there. That's not really you. Don't do that. You shouldn't do that because I know you, Tom. So you work with people. You get advice from a small trusted circle. You don't broadcast it on the internet. Never do that. That's suck. That's death. But the other thing is, sometimes I get very nice notes from people I admire, and that's like fuel. Like, wow, that's really cool. Somebody that I really respect just sent me a really nice note, and I was like, wow, that was so huge of him to do that. And it was just awesome, because I actually reach out to people that are great and tell them what they're doing, that it's great. And so, because I want them to know, like, dude, this is freaking awesome what you're doing. Mm-hmm. And then when I get that back from someone I really love, that just like, that's like fuel. That's like life. It's life-giving. And I think that's what we need to do. You know, we don't need to be so jealous if somebody's better. Man.
Right.
Remember, Michelangelo lived, okay? Who do you think you are that you're jealous about a person that's like your contemporary? Like, forget that. Michelangelo, dude, you're never going to touch Michelangelo. So you just got to keep Bouguereau, same thing. You know, like, these are dudes I will never get near those guys. And so just keep that in your mind. So reach out. At least for me, when I get feedback that is from great artists, it means a ton. And I make sure I give it, but also my small circle has been so crucial as well. You know. Yeah.
There was a saying that I always heard, that Michelangelo got all the great ceilings.
That's awesome. Yeah, but he hated painting. He didn't want to be a painter. He wasn't a painter, and he was just like, this sucks. And he's like, every day I got this this dread in my gut because I gotta finish that painting. I want to sculpt. We're like, dude, you're freaking Michelangelo.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. So was your editorial work, I mean, did you have to converse with a lot of people that changed a lot of the work that you did, or did they accept like 90% of the work, or how did that go?
Yeah. There's 2 phases. There's 1995 from Mad up till 2003, where I cut my teeth on caricature and editorial work. And I just did worked for a ton of magazines. And then when I went digital, right there, that's perfect. The New York Times, that's for the New York Times. When they called me a few different times, and I've worked for them, you know, numerous times. But this was the first time I went completely digital for them. And I realized that they weren't calling me for my paintings of oil paintings. They just wanted me to be myself and be Thomas Fluharty. And it's always about the drawing for me. And so I just painted it digitally, which I like digital. I don't love digital, but I paint in oils digitally, basically. The same approach. So it was cool that the New York Times allowed me to do that. That's when I started really hitting on what I loved, when I actually loved what I did. So there were so many things I did, numerous pieces for Sports Illustrated for kids. And so I did some pieces for Sports Illustrated, and I did work for Time Magazine, but I didn't like everything I did. After I really was rejected for the cover for Der Spiegel, and they gave it in-house, and I did that George Bush, then I started really creating and shaping these things like I wanted to do them, and started, getting in shows and winning an award here or there, where it was like I felt like I'm on to something. So it was a matter of a confidence that's built because of rejection, but then you start getting in a place where you start figuring it out and getting your own voice. Mm-hmm. And that piece for the New York Times was that. And anything I do now is just like, I know now who I am. And you look at great artists, like John Cuneo would be an artist where he gets it. He gets what he does, you know, like he gets drawing and his style is himself. And so, you know, it just takes, at least for me, it took years to figure that out.
But yeah, Tom, a lot of people that watch our show, like, you know, kind of from a process standpoint, are relatively new at pumpkin carving, but have found kind of a love in it. And we've gotten lucky to bring on a show a lot of our pumpkin idols, you know, and have them, you know, be able to talk to us, you know, the way you are, and just be able to say, okay, here's my process, here's the failures I had, and I think what's been really fun about the show is being able to have that discussion turn and help motivate somebody who likes what we do, likes what others do, and I just think it's a funky medium, right? Because it's temporary, it's seasonal, all that stuff, but people, no one doesn't like pumpkins. I mean, everyone likes a pumpkin, but,
right.
You know, and everybody eventually has a contest on their street or, you know, in their neighborhood where they're gonna have a pumpkin carving contest and they want to win it, and I get all that, but I think what I'm loving about what you're talking about is how there's I get a comment from one of the folks that we've brought on the show that is an idol of mine, and I'll walk around the house beaming that day, going, you know, this guy actually, you know, this is somebody I looked up to and emulated and copied and, you know, all this stuff. You know, Mark Evan or Ray Villafane or all these fantastic artists, Ron Free, all these great sculptors. And I tell you, I'm on cloud nine. And when you were talking about skipping home from the MAD, the big yes, I think that way a lot of times. And I tell you, one thing it does is it completely motivates me. And if nothing else, knowing that I've got an idol of mine that actually likes some of my stuff, you know, it just is that spark every time that says, all right, keep this up, do not stop. And it's just a beautiful thing. So I love hearing that kind of reinforcing what you were saying. Yeah, no, it is. I mean, I don't mean this as a name drop, but at one point I had my one-man show, my very first one-man show, and I'm a huge fan of the Wyeths, Jamie Wyeth, NC Wyeth, Andrew Wyeth. Oh wow, yeah, they're unreal, right? They're unreal. Yeah. And I've been a fan for 25, 30, 40 years of these guys. Yeah. Maybe I shouldn't name drop. Maybe that's what the
Why doesn't like that.
Okay, so it was just this guy who shall remain nameless. No. Yeah. Okay. No, but it was. I wrote Jamie Wyeth a note years ago and just said, "Dude, I love your paintings. I love Andrew. I love NC, whatever." And I didn't hear anything. It was on Mondragon Island. I sent it to him, and he sent me a book back, saying, "Thomas, thank you." And I was like, "Oh my gosh, Jamie Wyeth sent me this note." I was like, gosh, that's crazy. Then I had his actual address. I was like, okay, I'm holding on to that. Now you got it. There we go. Then I had my one-man show coming up in 2018. I had a book out, a sketchbook of my blue stuff. And I just sent it to him and said, Jamie, I still love your work. I wanted to show you because you gave me a book. I wanted to give you my new book that just came out. And if there's any way, if you could endorse my one-man show, that would be amazing. If not, I love your work and it doesn't change my view of you one bit. Yeah. I get a letter in the mail from Jamie Wyeth saying Thomas Fluharty's work. I can't remember what it says. It says something like Thomas Fluharty's work, his drawings and line work is so cool or whatever. And I was like, oh my gosh, Jamie Wyeth, send me this letter. I have it framed right over here. You know, I was like, I literally couldn't believe that Jamie Wyeth took the time to be so cool and send me and fill me up with life. And so I know that that's what happens if somebody loves what you're doing. You're breathing life into people, you know? And so it's like, I make a practice out of that. If somebody were to just write me a note, I just make sure I acknowledge it because don't we love that? So it's just so cool, you know? And it's just cool. I remember hearing Sting just say lately that he's honored if anybody records his stuff and does a cover of it. And this is, you're talking about Sting,
Dang, right.
but he's still paying attention, and he digs it. And so it's cool, regardless of what we do or whatever level. You should really try to think about how can you encourage someone. And to me, that's just so cool.
Yeah, totally. And that's been the beauty of doing the show as well, is like, a lot of people's like work lives out in front, right? You don't even know there's like a person behind it, who they are, what they're all about. Like, we talk about Mad. I mean, Sergio Aragones.
Wow.
I have his books, and I have, I was influenced by all Mad. It is Mad by the Decades. It's a huge book. And I have a huge Don Martin book, which I can't even. It's literally I couldn't even lug it up here. It's super humongous. So I mean, Matt and I, we grew up on Mad Magazine. I know Paul did. Me too. And so it's kind of hard to believe, like you said, like we know them by name only because we just see their little signature there. But I have no idea who he was. And then I see videos, and I'm just like, oh my God, like he's like a nice old man. He's like, and he's like thrilled to know anybody even knows who he is.
Exactly. Totally.
Yeah. I love that.
They're good people. Most of the great, I was just telling my wife this. I said, most of the great artists, I would say probably every great artist I've met that's just like unreal, they're the most humble, the most generous people. They are. Like John Navarez I think he's the greatest draftsman alive today. The dude can draw like insane, John Navarez. And he's the most gracious, humble guy I know.
Wow.
And same with Pascal Campion. One of the greatest image makers that alive today. He's got like 1 billion followers. He's insane, Pascal Campion, and he's so generous, so gracious, so humble. He doesn't even think he's good. I'm like, dude, you got to wake up here. Like, you're insane. And it's just crazy to see that. Like, there are artists that are, and so the great artists are humble, and the insecure artists are not. Those are the ones that suck the life out of you, And so, stay away from them.
Yeah.
I mean, I'll be on the record here. Neil Adams was a jerk to me years ago. He looked at my work, and when he looked at my work, I went over to his studio in New York City. And Neil, I don't know if you know Neil Adams. He's like a rock star comic book artist. And he looked at my work, and he's just like, and when he's done, he looked at my work, and he shut my portfolio, and he goes, "So, why are you here?"
Oh,
no. And I was like, because I want to bow down and worship you, oh great one. No, I didn't say that. I was just like, well, look, I just figured, you're solid and amazing. I figured I could just show you my work. And I worked at Jim's studio. He had another studio, Continuity. And he just said, he shut my book and looked at me, and he says, let me give you a piece of advice. He goes, if I were you, and I'm in New York City, okay, at this time. He goes, if I were you, I would move to a small town and start there.
Oh my God.
That's what he said to me. And I left there so ticked off that I made a point. I will never suck the life out of any artist, that I will breathe life into any artist, regardless of whatever happens in my career. I will always make sure that I I encourage someone. And that was sad. That was really sad. And I know he's done that to other artists. I've heard other artists with the same story. He might mean it. He might mean it to like sort of put fire underneath your soul or whatever, but that was not cool. Yeah. Anyways, I want to name him because I think it's important to say, hey, dude, you've got to wise up with what you're doing to people. That's not cool, And all that to say on the positive is breathe life into people. That's the point.
Well, I mean, you do that by teaching. I do a lot of mentorship with college students and stuff like that, and I'm like, I'm going to do anything to encourage them, and it's so cool. My way of giving back. I mean, art gave me life.
That's right. That's exactly right. Bobby Chu's the same way. That's why schoolism exists. It's like Bobby is a generous artist. He's a generous soul. He and Kay, and they're amazing talents. And Bobby's always growing. Kay. They're always growing and always getting better. And because they're humble, they're teachable, they're generous. And so that's just like something that everyone I know and hang out with and talk to on a regular basis. They're legit human beings, you know?
Yeah.
Well,
Oh,
like,
look. Oh,
I
no.
mean,
Look at that.
see, this is one thing that we didn't touch on. Your art gives like me pleasure the same way that Mad gives me pleasure. Like it's one of those things where I can go into it and I'll open this up and I'll laugh today from it, just like I did when I was 13.
That's so cool.
So I love this, and it's not, you don't just do one person one time. Like you obviously did variations of this. So like my question to you is like, do you revisit it, revisit these topics for different reasons, or are you commissioned to do so, or like why?
Yeah. So the one on the left, the one in the tie, that was for the Village Voice, and Pee Wee just got into trouble because he had done something.
Yeah.
Got into trouble, and I love Pee Wee. I really love Pee Wee.
Yeah. Same here.
But he's a genius. So, anyways, he got into trouble. They wanted me to do this for him for the Village Voice, and I did it. And that was in '93, probably. This was again right after the George Bush cowboy thing, 93 or 4 or 5, or I'm not even sure, 96, whatever. And after that, I had been working out, for years now. Fast forward to 2015, and I started painting pop culture because I wanted to sell these paintings and this imagery. So I went back to Pee Wee as Mona Lisa because Pee Wee's genius, and I wanted to now revisit him now that I have been lifting weights longer now. I'm stronger as an artist. I've been trained classically. That's not a brag. It's just simply like, if you're faster, go on and time yourself again, right? Like now approach the same subject and see what happens, as long as I'm excited about it. And I was. So I wanted to just do Pee Wee as in a pop culture take. And that's essentially what this is. So I posed for it, and I found this great image of Pee Wee's face that I wanted, and that was a low res, and I wanted it as high res, and I didn't want to pay the photographer $1,000 to give me that photo, so I pieced a bunch of images together of his face, and then just created this image, and.
It's super amazing. Well, and you do the same thing I do with graphic design. It's like exactly the way I would have handled it too. So ways to cut corners.
One thing I was going to say, Tom, is when I see some of your Instagram photos, and it's wonderful that you post like some of the things like a cowboy hat, some inspiration pieces, but also the pictures with it, because the beauty of what I see you doing. Wow. When it comes to like a photograph next to one of your things, is you find the thing in their face that makes them interesting. I mean, that's the beauty of a really good caricature, like the George Lucas one. Everyone in the world knows he's got this nice big double chin, or big neck thing. Yeah. But the accentuation of it, but without being yeah. But at the same time, it makes it fun. It makes it interesting. His note. I mean, I just am so enamored that you have, that vision. Or even like, I mean, again, if I look at Mick Jagger, I'd say Mick Jagger's lips, but the wrinkles. But then to have that entire, that entire face that has. You're finding those beautiful pieces in it, and accentuating them just to the perfectly to make the caricature alive and a lot more fun than just a static drawing.
No, that's super cool and encouraging. I love that you encouraged me that way. I think there's story everywhere, basically. There are people that will blow everything out. So they'll have big nose, big eyes, big eyebrows, big ears, big chin, and it's like ketchup all over your fries. Like it's too loud. Like this is my opinion. I'm not that some of those things aren't amazing. There are incredible caricatures that do that. I just think there's story in hands. There's story in hair. There's story in ears. There's a story in a nose. There's a story in a chin. I mean, look, Lucas's head is a tube, and he defines his jawline by his
that little beard.
But he doesn't have a jawline. Yeah. He's just saying, okay, here's my jaw.
This is where it should be.
We know it's disappeared. Yeah. So I'm saying there's a story there that if you're looking and you're paying attention. And so, I did, like, even with Jagger, I drew Jagger a couple years back, and it's this long body, and I love hands. And so there was some story in the hands that I did. His shirt has a story, and his face, I didn't just blow his lips out to like volume 10. Yeah. I just felt like there's other places to say something. Mm-hmm. And that's just my approach. Yet it's not wrong if you have everything volume 10, but I think when everybody is screaming, you're not heard anymore. But I think when you pick places to tell a story, it's just like what you said. You mentioned things that I'm deliberate on. I'm being deliberate about.
Yeah. And like this on first sight, I mean, I love the fact that it's all dark and it looks like it's at a concert, right? But if you look closely at where the hands are, I mean, there's a fire and there's smoke coming out of it. Yeah. Which is the, part of the story that you may miss if you were just to glance anywhere but the face.
Yeah.
And I love that. I love that there's more to this than actually meets the eye.
That's cool.
One little comment I'll make about it is you think of Kiss and you immediately think of the face paint, but you painted the old man behind the face paint so perfect. And the fact that these guys are flawed old dudes at this point.
Right. That's great. That's exactly what it is. And you notice his skinny little arm. It's just like, this was very early on in my, this was in maybe 15 or something, 2014. And I had painted like 15 or 20 pop culture images to get attention. And they didn't no galleries were interested in them, but basically this was Ace. And it's like stinking large. It's like 5 feet tall. And I still have it, but there are things that I just actually wanted to finish this thing. I was so tired of looking at it. And so we always have these images and these paintings that are just staring at us. And it's just like, but being disciplined, I said, no, I need to finish this thing. And I finished it up. And, there's things I didn't handle perfectly, but it was okay because it was a step forward with, when I finally ended painting pop culture, there was a Prince painting that's actually on my wall over there. And when I painted Prince in purple, playing the guitar, that one really was cool. Where I was like, "Nah, man, this holds up as a painting." And it's that, again, that's not a brag. It's just that eventually you do hit something that that this holds up. The other ones, there's problems with them that weaker handlings of the smoke or whatever. I was just lost in something or whatever. And so it's just those ways. I think my camera's going to die.
I see that.
So I'm gonna actually jump, figure this out. Let me just see if I can't figure this out. Cam mic. I'm going to jump over to this FaceTime camera here.
Okay.
How's that?
Oh,
perfect.
Yeah, great.
All good.
Didn't miss a beat.
Nice. So, but
I'd love to see. I know you've got a Cowboy series going now. Have you got anything that looks like we got about 20 minutes left? Do you got anything you want to just kind of give us a sneak peek at? I'd love to see something, even in partial form, if you're up for showing us.
Yeah, hold on one second. Let me just disconnect this. Camera's done. You when you say show, you want me to
you can just show the camera. I mean, what if it's not too hard to find? I mean,
Yeah. So here's the thing. Right now, my focus is Cowboys, and the reason why it's so I'm well. There's two things. Number one, I'm building a class for schoolism, so that's what I'm trying to stay focused on. And then I also do work for the Washington Examiner when they call every week, basically, and I make time for that. And then I'm drawing in any spare time that I can. I'm just creating because it's like you're a photographer. You shoot 30 shots and one is really cool. I'm constantly creating. So I've got I've got so many drawings here, like just of cowboys, because I want to. Somebody is going to pitch me to some galleries in the West, and so I have all these drawings that I'm creating to finally settle on a few to paint. And so, like I said earlier, this is one that's going up tomorrow as a post.
Oh my gosh.
and then this was a sketch that did not turn into anything yet. This one is happening, and I cannot wait to paint to draw.
Oh my God, I love that guy.
So, this was a distraction because it's the Civil War.
Civil War, yeah.
And I can't be drawing Civil War guys because I need to keep building the body of work for the cowboy direction. Oh, but I'm also creating a book, and so in the meantime, I'll start a few pages for that. So this is when you open the book, it's going to say the 901 cowboy thing. Hold on one second.
Okay.
It's going to be super cool. So I'm building this book that's going to be out sorry, 1 second. I've got piles of cowboy stuff here. So I've got here's a doodle that I started of a cowboy on a horse right here.
Okay.
But it just didn't do what I wanted to, and then I just started using it to doodle on. So then the doodle here is that this is the cowboy that you just saw. This was the initial stake in the ground. Like, oh yeah, that looks cool. I'm going to do a drawing like that. And I did this little doodle, and then I try to pay attention to it. Okay. And then this is another an idea that I have for a cowboy on a horse looking over this valley and big clouds. So I want to do that one. But in the meantime, I'm building this class and doing other things. So I don't know, man. I just got there's a lot of distractions here. So
I put you on the spot, and I was like, "Come on, let's see your stuff." So but thanks for wow.
Yeah, this is Banjo Boy that I posted a couple of days ago.
Yeah,
here was a lady that was a sort of a lady of the night, and she was fat and has a cigarette and had a teacup on her breast, but I never really went anywhere with that. Here's another one that's super cool that I haven't finished yet.
Oh wow.
This is double barrel, dude. But other than that, it's all cowboys right now because I'm getting ready to do this book that I'm going to pitch, have available in February, and it'll be a 72-page book of cowboys, just cowboy. I'm going to write different like paragraphs of like on failure or value, and it's like a teaching book as well. But it's very much like the other two books. But it's going to be super cool. There is something. Let me just see here. Yeah. So, anyways, I don't think I can find it right now. But anyway,
I was just putting you on the spot. I just I know people love seeing the process, and like even the initial lines are fascinating when you see the final piece. That's the thing that a lot of artists just like, okay, I see the beginning and I see the end. How'd you get there? It's like that. Right, it's fun to always, like when we post pictures, a lot of times when I'll do a pumpkin, I'll try to remember to take a picture or two of the initial the first shots and stick those in there if I can remember to do it. I don't always do it, but it's and then people can get a sense of, okay, that's what he was seeing in the face of a lot of times pumpkins, like in the case of this one, even it's this big lumpy guy. And so I'm starting to get a sense for, where the face is going to be based on, based on the lumps in the pumpkin.
That's so crazy.
Yeah. So, the nose is coming in, I got eyes, same with Paul, like the forehead and you're kind of using the shape. And that really helps dictate the face and how that's all going to turn out. But and that process to me is a ton of fun because it completely ebbs and flows as I'm working on it. It's like I don't know where everything's going to be yet. I don't know how his eyes are going to be, but I know I've got a kind of a sideways nose going on here, and the thing is just if you look at it, it's just this giant lumpy green ugly gourd.
Yeah.
So
That's awesome, though. It's so cool. Do you guys sculpt with clay at all?
I do.
You do?
I do a bit, yeah.
Yeah.
Haven't had much time for it lately.
Yeah. Because
The question that I really wanted to ask, because like we touched on before, I really love the caricature style.
Yeah.
Do you ever do it live? Do you ever just sit across from someone and actually sketch their face, or do you do it from photos so that you have like that extra time to focus on?
Right. They call it retail caricature. So the retail caricature, that's a skill set that I'd have to develop that. I would have to do it enough to sort of work through the kinks.
Mm-hmm.
I could sit there and draw you, but there are guys that just do it. That's their gig. That's what they do. Tom Richmond's, I think, is one of the best in the world at it. And he's just insane. Tom Richmond is just incredible. And he teaches it. And so, he works for Mad Magazine as well. And he actually lived in Minneapolis. We went to lunch a few times together. He's a dear man. I love him dearly. He's a great guy, great human being, but a great artist as well. So he could just sit there and draw you better than anyone. Just with ink, like bam. There's other friends I have that do the same thing. And I go to ISCA. It's the International Society of Caricature Artists. There was supposed to be a show happening. So all these caricaturists from all over the world meet wherever the show is going to be. Next year it's going to be in Vegas. And I'll go out, but I'm doing caricature at a different sort of different approach. Mm-hmm. And these guys are doing retail, black and white line in a mall or at a kiosk, and that's it. That's difficult. I can't do that, but I know I could if I just sat down and worked it out. But it would take me some time to figure it out, just because it's to be respected,
Yeah, right. Yeah.
No, I just worship the way that you work through. Like, I love how you post. Like, you'll show the sketch, you'll show the doodle. Then you'll show the next step. And then, like Matt was saying, there's this spot in between where it gets so illustrated and perfect that it's, I put it up like 2 inches from my eyes to try and figure out like if something would click for me.
Yeah.
Figure out what that step is.
Right. Well,
like you said, it's a process, right? That the road is long and you just got to keep traveling down it.
Yeah, and it's just repetition of doing something your way, it your way. This was for the Washington Examiner last week. Bernie and
Elizabeth Warren.
Elizabeth Warren. So these were one takes, and they were like, "That's perfect. I'm gonna do it." And I basically start with the left eye over here. I start right there, work my way over, go across the bridge, put that eye in, go down the nose, down the philtrum to the lips, down the chin, and build the face around it. And same with Bernie. I start with his left eye over here. I can't figure out where to get there. Yeah, the left eye right in there. And then I just move over. But I'm always aware of where the skull is. I know how to draw the skull. I don't just do like, oh, here's the shape of his face, because then I'm putting things inside of a predetermined shape. Right. So these things kind of live and breathe on their own by starting in a certain way. And then, so I needed 4 faces, and then that's really what these were. So Biden, and then AOC, I think.
AOC, yeah.
AOC.
But they started this way, and then I just, because it came right out, and I didn't have to Photoshop anything. I just take it in. And start painting right on top of these, digitally speaking. So I scan them into my computer and just draw little stick-like bodies off of them. And then, but it all starts right here, like a big piece of paper, not too big. And that's how I do it. But that's just me. Some people will start by just the egg shape of the face, or mine's a peanut head. So, but it's whatever works for you.
It's funny that you said that. Do you always start with the left eye? Because I do the same exact thing. I always start with the left eye.
That's awesome. Yeah, I do. I
was hoping I was onto something.
I start with the left eye. Absolutely.
Great minds think alike.
Hey, there you go, man. That's awesome.
I mean, I get lost somewhere between the left eye and everything else.
Hey, trust me, I've been lost so many times. Yeah. I'm waiting for it to disappear, though. I'm like, okay, when will it happen that I can't make the throw to first anymore? So it's like, you know, like Chuck Knobloch was the shortstop for the Twins, and he Golden Glove, and then one day he just couldn't make
second baseman actually.
And he just couldn't make the throw anymore.
Yep.
Mentally was gone, and then he went to the Yankees, and he just was out. And then he fell apart. Like,
yep.
I don't say that like to make fun. I'm saying, my goodness, this is what we do. And all of a sudden, if I can't make the throw to first anymore, what's going to happen?
Yeah.
And my life better be bigger than art. And it's like, wow, that's pretty crazy. But, you know, I don't treat it lightly. It's a gift, and I'm thankful for it. I feel like God has been good to gift me in the way of being able to think and just wired this way. But like, wow.
Do you have writers or artist block? Because I've experienced it recently where I'll make one or two in a row and three, and then I'm almost, wait a minute, I used to be able to do this, and now do you have a point where you go through a couple drawings and you just like, you know, start doubting yourself at all, or are you kind of past that at this point?
I don't want to say no, I don't have writer's block kind of a thing, because then I'll probably have it.
Oh yeah, never mind. Sorry.
It's I don't worry too much about it. If I'm not drawing well one day, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. I'll have to press in and just keep pressing in, because I know I'm relying on fundamentals, not intuitive. Here's how I make a line. And, let me see. Can I move my hand the same way again? And it's like, man, I'm not moving my hand the same. No. This is how you draw. This is fundamentals. It's not. It's not particulars. Like,
that's helpful.
Yeah. So it's like this is how you draw an eye. You know.
Mm-hmm.
What can you say to take the pressure off Matt and Paul, because they are easily two of the greatest pumpkin carvers and gourd and everything. Exactly. So what can you say in a sentence to take the pressure off of them to not hate their work? I mean, not that they hate completely, because I mean, they're too talented to completely hate it, but it's like, I understand the pressure of wanting to make something great.
Yeah. The only thing that takes pressure off is to realize, like, we're all a work in progress. We're all figuring it out and learning how to do it. Yeah. So nobody has arrived. I mean, you know, you can get out there and paint a landscape. I mean, Joe Paquette can freaking paint a landscape solidly every day. But he's not going to tell you he's arrived. So, you know, I mean, I don't want to speak for him. I'm just saying, for me, I have not arrived. You know, and I'm saying that's the encouragement for me. Like, it's like, you don't have to be anything. You don't have to be great. You don't have to be anything other than yourself. And the real point isn't that you impressed someone. The real thing is you just love doing this and developing and growing. And the real question is, did you grow today? Did you get better? You know? Are you better at this? What did you learn today? You know?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
and
that's great.
It's freeing. I mean, there's this. I said this to somebody else. I went to a museum one time, and I said, "Hey, I want to see the Bouguereaus. Where are the Bouguereaus?" And they said, "Oh, Bouguereau is not really popular right now. His works are in the basement." And I said, Bouguereau's in the basement? They were like, yeah, he's in the basement. He's just not popular right now. And I was like, oh my gosh, if Bouguereau's in the basement, Bouguereau's like one of the greatest painters in the entire world and the history of painters, very famous. But at one point he fell out of favor. But he's in the basement of this amazing museum. I realized at that point, I don't have to worry about being remembered, because I'm not. He's forgotten. At that stage, he was in the basement. What does that say about me? So it frees me from any responsibility or any ideas or false notions that I need to perform at because somebody is paying attention or whatever. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. Like, Bouguereau was in the basement. That's freeing for me. It's like, cool. Yeah. He's in the basement. I'm never going to be in the basement or anywhere near the. I'm not even going to be in the shed outside. So it's like, that's freeing. So just go create, enjoy what you're doing. Yeah. And just try to study with great people and try to really be a good human being, you know, and try to just keep growing and be aggressive with learning.
I love that. I love that. And I heard it from not even a famous artist who said this one time. You could spend your whole life working on art just for someone to go, they were okay.
Exactly. Yeah. Yeah. And it's actually freeing when you stop trying to get somebody's attention. Actually, it's freeing to be ignored. And I'm ignored. People are ignored. And man, that's really cool, because now you're free to really create. You don't have to create because somebody paid attention to you. Go create. Just get lost. Try to figure it out. Like, man, this is really cool what I'm doing. And if people pay attention, it doesn't matter. I think the worst thing is for you to have these expectations that people need to respond, or you need 10,000 likes. And then, like you said, Mike, when somebody says, like, what does that do to you?
Yeah. Like that guy that you showed your book to, like, he was just like, And when in reality, you know what I heard? He was intimidated by you, and he's like, yeah, you should go away. You shouldn't be around here.
Right.
That's funny.
That's what I heard.
That's great. I like that. So.
Well, let me go through some of your work, because we're about ready to end the show. Not soon, but probably in about 10 or 15 minutes. But I definitely wanted to show some more of your work. I also wanted to go around the room to see some of the stuff that Matt and Paul are doing as well. So, great. I mean, these, as I flip through these are absolutely outstanding. Again, the old and young Elton. By the way, but
so good.
You know, and you're not just doing caricatures. I mean, you're doing. We were going through your sharks that we were just like just amazed.
Oh my God.
Thanks, man. Thank you.
Dogs.
Again, I was ignored with sharks. People love them, but I couldn't sell them, so I stopped painting sharks.
Is that right?
I sell shark drawings a lot. Anytime I put a shark drawing up, I sell it. It's just I wanted to sell $10,000 painting to shark people, but that's a whole nother deal. So I couldn't get near these guys that have all the money in own these yachts. So it's all a matter of positioning yourself to the right people. But I love drawing sharks and I love painting sharks. But again, it's just a blast to do. You know?
Well, I heard it a long time ago that there's starving artists, but there's not starving gallery owners. So that tells you we just have to keep on creating. And then we're talking about the dogs. I mean, these are outstanding.
I love dogs.
Like I wish we could spend just another hour just going through your portfolio.
Thank you.
I mean, your body of work is incredible. So I'm like, if you're not good at this point, in your estimation, I mean, I can't wait to see the next things that you create, because the second half of your career, because like everything that I see here is so outstanding.
Thank you so much. That's very nice of you.
Wow.
Yeah, I love dogs. I think what it is too is, if you do what you love, hopefully it'll resonate with people.
Yeah. I mean, the one bit of advice I never followed at a sculpture professor in college. I took a semester of it, and that's when I just like it had to be part of my life. But I remember one time the professor said, I said, how do you do this? Because he was clearly a professor. He's doing it for a living. And I said to him, how do you just do art? That's what I want to do. And I didn't listen to the advice, but he told me, he said, do what you love and everything else will fall into place. And that won't be perfect, but you wake up doing everything you love. So
I think so.
For me, if I didn't have art, I wouldn't have a career. I'm not even sure. I'd probably be driving a truck.
Same, totally. Yeah, I don't have any other skill set. This is it.
Yeah. And even when things were lean, and like I moved out to LA, and I'm like, there wasn't a lot of work. I was here for a month, and I thought, oh God, I'm gonna have to deliver pizza. That's what I'm gonna have to do while I'm out here. And it was just a month I was here without work. But then, from then I've had, 22-year career. So 30-year career in total. But
that's so cool. Are you in LA?
I am in LA. I'm right outside Pasadena.
Nice.
Yeah.
Well, this is the cover of your book.
Yeah, this is Full Moon Rising.
Yeah.
I don't know if you know the premise of the book. Do you know the premise?
I do. Yeah, he's very proud of his how beautiful he is, kind of thing. And is that with the
all of his accomplishments? Like he can make the tides swell. He can he can change his shape throughout the year. He's really bright, but he's completely, and he boasts and he brags, and but he's completely a rock. He's just a cold stone rock, and everything he has is because of the sun. And so eventually the sun rises and a piercing ray wakes him up, and he realizes it, and then he starts pointing at the end of the book towards the real source. And that's beautiful. It's a book on humility.
Yeah, that's awesome. I mean, like these are, I mean, everything about this is just so gorgeous.
Thank you. Yeah, this was I think this was The Boy in the Ocean, maybe. Max Lucado he's a Christian author, and I got to do his book.
So how do you get commissioned for this, or do the people seek you out to do this, or
they did. Crossway is a publisher in Chicago. We did Full Moon Rising, which my wife and I wrote, and then after that they offered me R.C. Sproul, who's a really cool theologian, and then after that Lucado. Lucado is a very famous sort of high-profile children's book author, sort of writer. But then that was for the same book as well. The Boy in the Ocean is what it was called. But this was me wanting children's books to take off and have options and opportunities, and all these major publishers call me, but it was total crickets. So it was cool. It was cool because it moved me on. I was like, okay, fine. And here's the thing. There's no great story. There's not a lot of great stories that were being done. So I was like, all I want to do is paint, draw, and create. And the fact that it was a children's book genre was limiting. So because I didn't have people beating down my door, I was like, fine, I'll keep moving on. So
yeah, and that's actually good advice. And I always say that, like, my art career has been like a frog on lily pads. I know exactly when to jump. Like, I go, there's nothing here. I gotta start looking ahead.
I love that. That's a great idea. And so that's the thing. Shut doors for me are great. I love shut doors because I move on to the next thing. Unless I'm really confident, and I'm like, it doesn't matter. I'm still going to do what I love, bottom line. And this was a great book. I love this book that we came up with. I still think it's great. That's not an arrogant statement. It's a great book that is it's a legitimate reality that dogs stick their heads out the freaking window. And I said, it's called Into the Wind. And the whole book is just about all these dogs that look like their owners just going into the wind. And I see it all over the place. We showed a few publishers and they were like, this one editor was like, nah, that's a Minnesota thing. That doesn't happen everywhere. I was like, what the heck? So this editor shot it down, and then it sat at Simon & Schuster's for 2 years, and they wanted a story written with it, and it just died. And we still have this book. I still want to do this book. I might even self-publish it, but I think it is a cool book that I'm 100% into. I sort of bailed on the whole children's book thing.
Stick to your guns. It's your ace up your sleeve. You'll use it when it's time's right.
Right. So.
And this picture, I just happened to see this one. I didn't see it on your website or anywhere, but I saw this. This is tremendous.
Thanks so much.
This is family. This is family right here.
Yeah, I love this one. I think this one's really cool. It's just called Sleep Dogs. It's basically let sleeping dogs lie. And it was just this idea. The problem with it is that the white dog laying in the foreground on his face, and the other one on the right, those are photos on the internet, and they're highly popular photos. So it sort of put a hindrance on me really getting this out there. It just because I don't own those two pictures in particular.
Right.
But I've since learned how to create, taking my own shots or making things where, like the Dog Father. If you saw the Dog Father, that's completely mine, and that's a licensed image now that we're now able to sell worldwide. So it's pretty cool.
Well,
and I love how you take photographs after the fact too. You have an idea, then you go and recreate it. I think that's genius, because it's not only is it yours, but they're in the pose you want them to be in, and
yeah, it's a
tell
jump
the story.
off. I'm using it as a springboard, you know. Yeah.
Yeah.
So let's go around, Matt. Let's Paul, do you want to show what where you
That is awesome. That is the book. That is the cover. That's awesome.
I'm working on it.
Okay, here's a question. What are you going to do with this cigarette in there?
I'm going to take it off the back, and I'm going to sculpt a cigarette and then put it in his mouth.
My
The
God.
hardest part for me is to figure out how to do the glasses.
Wow.
Because every time I go to do this, I think of Villafane always says, try to find organic matter. Like, keep it organic. And I can't think of a thing that I can do nice, smooth wire rim glasses like that.
You might have to just go buy a pair of like real glasses and paint them orange or something. I know that, like, you know, my daughter's a sculptor, and a lot of times they'll take real glasses and sort of put clay around them and peel it out.
That might not be a bad plan, Paul.
Yeah. Well, I'm not the smartest person in the world, so
no, dude, that looks amazing.
I have been known to find other objects around my house that would be more the right size. I'm going to figure it out. I am going to figure it out. I do have, that might be too small. I have some round objects
that is crazy.
Punch out holes and actually probably scribe them up.
That's awesome looking. Wow, and you did all that while we were talking. That's crazy.
Oh, it's got a long way to go.
That's a ton of work to get done within an hour and a half. I mean, gosh, that's crazy cool.
Thank you very much.
Wow.
Thank you.
Matt, what do you got?
So I started kind of liking some of the old people on his some of the old folks. So this guy is going to have some wrinkles. I'm not sure exactly what to do with the eyes, but I'm leaving him kind of thick now so I can put some wrinkles and detail in there. But he's going to have some big and the thought too for the mouth is the lower lip is going to be kind of going up into his mouth, like.
Oh man, that is so cool.
Because it kind of automatically, when you do that, it kind of gives you that crease.
Yeah. Right.
He's naturally got one. So
that is just incredible. That is so cool.
Nice, man.
It reminds me of a friend of mine. You ought to look at his work. His name is David O'Keefe. And David O'Keefe is a sculptor, and he's also a painter, but he does pop culture. So, man, you should he would be a great interview. He's amazing, but I talk to him every day. He's one of that small circle that I talk to every day, and he's a genius. He did the cover of Mad. He did Time Magazine. He's been everywhere. He's insane. David O'Keefe.
Yeah.
O'Keefe. But just type in David O'Keefe sculptures and look at what he's done. He's insane. He actually sculpted Bill Clinton's face out of a naked lady.
Oh wow!
And it looks exactly like him. Just type that in. David O'Keefe sculpture. Clinton.
Is that him?
That's him. Yep, David O'Keefe. Yep.
He's amazing.
You got to see what he does. And he also he's done The Godfather as a painting. He's done Caddyshack. But he also just type in Corleone, like Don Corleone, a profile of The Godfather as a sculpt. It's freaking awesome.
You know what it reminds me of? Remember the Genesis video? With the puppets?
Yeah.
Land of Confusion.
Land of Confusion. It's just like that style.
Yep, that's him. Yeah, he's insane. I mean,
wow.
There's nobody sculpting caricatures like that. That's just a fact. And his work is off the. Yeah, there's the Clinton. I'm telling you. How did he make that look like Clinton using naked bodies? I don't get it.
Awesome.
I mean, come on. He only had like 10 hours or so to do it. Like, seriously?
All right, I have a new. I'm following somebody new. Thank you.
Right.
Oh my God,
unbelievable.
Yeah, so insane.
That is awesome. Awesome. So, well, Thomas, I mean, this comes to the end of our show, but did you have anything that you wanted to plug or someplace that we can go? I know that you have some prints for sale. Did you want to plug that?
Yeah, I mean, just anything. If you see anything that you want, I have a store that I'm constantly putting work into every week. I have prints, giclées, really nice prints for sale. I have books for sale. There are those cowboy coasters I told you about that I haven't put up yet. I can't necessarily promise that if you put an order in today, it'll be there by Christmas, but it's still doable. But yeah, anything like that. I have original artwork for sale. And then I'm also doing a class for schoolism. I teach at schoolism.com, which with a lot of other amazing artists in the world that teach there, from schoolism and with Pixar and DreamWorks, all these amazing artists that I'm a part of. And so we have these classes. You can just go school yourself. I think you can subscribe and stream throughout the month, and that's incredible. And I'm also creating this new class, the 901 Indigo Blue with Thomas Fluharty, about what I'm thinking about as I'm drawing in this blue every day. So that's coming out in February. But then I'm also doing the Cowboy book, which is going to be a 72-page of action-packed madness of Cowboy Blue 901. That's coming out in February. So I'm building that book right now. So other than that, that's basically it. And yeah, you can follow me on Instagram, Thomas Fluharty.
Love it.
Yeah, and I'll share this as well. I'll share this on
Oh, beautiful.
Yeah,
Awesome.
thank you so much.
Oh, it's an honor.
Matt, anything to plug?
Yeah, I want to make sure you follow Thomas Fluharty immediately. Buy his stuff, but just be in awe like we are of the guy. So just thank you so much for coming on, my friend.
It's an honor, guys. You guys are amazing, and I can't believe you're doing that with Pumpkin. So it's crazy.
Paul.
Yeah, I just want to say, like Maddie just said, make sure that if you're not following Thomas or taking a class through schoolism with Thomas, I think you'd be crazy not to. And I personally would just like to thank you, Thomas, for being humble and so positive,
Awesome.
and just saying the right things that, you know, a lot of people that do watch the show might just be starting out. They might not actually be, you know, they might be carving pumpkins along with us, but just like myself, they might also love to draw and these other avenues. And I just think you were really positive and you said all the right things, and that's really good for people to hear, especially right now. Some positivity.
Thanks, Paul. I appreciate it.
No, we really do appreciate having you on. This was an
Yeah.
honor.
Yeah, it's an honor. It's great to hang with you guys, for sure.
Thank you so much. That's a great theme to end on. It's never stop learning, because even though as seasoned as we all are, I mean, I love learning, and I love getting better. So yeah, so
Absolutely.
Thank you for that lesson as well.
Absolutely.
Okay, so next week we actually on the 17th we'll actually have a returning guest, Alexandra Bastien. I think we're going to be painting ourselves, guys. So I'm really looking forward to that.
Don't we have?
We've got George on Saturday. I think
George, is that this Saturday?
So we're recording it, but it'll actually be playing later. But yes, do you want to tell us who will be on there?
Who wants to take a stab at his last name?
Thomas, we've got there's an artist we follow, and we'll send you a link to it once it's recorded. But he's one of the most amazing sculptors, and he's Greek. He's in Athens, and there's enough words. I think he actually has all 26 letters in his last name. So I'm not taking a stab.
Go ahead.
Yeah, send me his. I'd like to check him out for sure.
Oh, we will. It's we'll send it to you on email, because it's just mind-boggling what this guy does with clay. So we'll send it.
So cool! I can't wait to see.
Yeah,
man.
I get 2 weeks to practice his name, so I got to say his name at some point.
Is that enough time?
It is. It is not. It is not enough. I'm gonna have to do the lemon juice and the tea before everything. Oh my God, it's pretty, but it's going to be amazing. And if I'm not mistaken, his wife is actually going to be translating into English, right?
No, that was that was someone else. I'm trying to remember.
Okay, I'll edit this in post.
Yeah, edit that in post. But yeah, no, this makes us international.
Yeah,
right.
There we go. Now we're going over the ocean here.
We've got Canadian guests, but yeah, now we got to go over the ocean.
Yeah,
so this is awesome. But man, what a December! The guests we've had, geez, unbelievable.
Yeah, a December to remember for sure.
December to remember with these unbelievable artists.
I just noticed I'm all silhouetted and shadowed. My light's over here, so I apologize for that.
It's all good. It's all good.
You're good.
Yeah, we're good.
Awesome.
Yeah, thanks again, Thomas. I can't thank you enough, and
Thanks,
look forward
guys.
to seeing all your next things coming out.
Thanks, guys. It was an honor to be on the show. Thanks, and meet you guys personally. Thank you.
Thank you. You too.
Thanks, guys.
Thank you, and we'll see you next week. Good night, everyone.
Good night.
Good night.